Come on now, more margaritas. Come on now, more margaritas.
Welcome to the first
Come on now, more margaritas.
episode of R&D Watch 'em. And it's been a while since I did a podcast. Tried doing a podcast a little bit ago, didn't work out. Third-party intervention kind of ruined it, but now we're back. First of many new podcast shows coming from myself, Randy Lee Beasley, and Pepper Scott Productions. But this one is called, like I said, R&D Watch 'em, and it's Randy and Dad Watch 'em. Dan, I almost sound like I said Dad.
It's a common mistake. Whenever I hear people say dad or I hear them say damn, I'm like, what do you need to say to me? What's going on? You said it with such expression.
You are my father anyway, man. It's weird. It's this weird time travel plot.
Morty.
Rick, my balls, they dropped, Rick. What do you think?
Morty, I'm proud of you. I'm glad that happened. But Morty, for God's sake, I don't need to know that.
When Morty's balls drop, he's gonna start talking like this. Like, hey, come on, Rick, we don't need to go there. Do some heroin. Fuck some aliens.
Fuck some aliens. Go to Gazorpazorp, get some more sex robots.
Yes. All right. Here we go now. The first episode, we're going to be talking about Tusk, okay? Now, Tusk is Kevin Smith's newest joint, film cinematographic masterpatic feature. And, well, actually, before we get into Tusk, we're going to do a little introduction because this is our first podcast. So, I am the R in R&D. I am Randy Lee Beasley. I am the owner of Pepper Scar Productions, formerly Cockshot Films. I'm an award-nominated, won an award-winning indie filmmaker, and I've just recently also became a award-nominated actor. So we're not novices. This is we're not jokes. We're me and Dan. Dan is my cinematographer for starting with Mental State Season 2 for the third and final Mental State season. He is the cinematographer on Welcome to Woodbury, which is still playing in Fest right now. He's the cinematographer on Stage 3, which world premieres at the Chicago Ghost Conference and Paranormal Film Festival in Chicago in November. I went to Technology Center of DuPage and got my certificate for digital filmmaking and multimedia. It was like a 2-year program thing. It was fun. And then I went to AI for like 2 years, and that wasn't fun because it was like worse than high school. So that's me. I'm a giant Kevin Smith fan. And
literally, you should see him. He's huge.
Yes.
No, he got a lot of, he's always been following Kevin Smith really closely. That's like probably the first thing I knew about Randy when I met him. We were working at the movie theater together, and pretty much first thing he said is like, "Do you like Kevin Smith?"
Yes.
It was either that or Batman.
Probably both.
It's probably both at the same time.
I'm a fucking nerd. I don't know. I'm a Star Wars, Batman, fucking Captain America, asshole, Kevin Smith nerd. But yeah. So that's the R, and as you're here, I'm Randy, and now here's the D. Give him the D, Dan.
I don't know, maybe the viewers heard that. There was something that sounded really creepy that just came through the headphones.
Oh, so like
I do not know what that was.
So the ghost in my house is trying to talk.
It sounded like a ghost. That was weird.
Oh,
it sounded like someone like breathing really close to the microphone, and that was not you, because you were talking while that happened.
Maybe, hold on, was it me exhaling?
Nothing like that.
Okay, well, for those of you who also, who know me or who don't know me, I used to be big into ghost hunting, paranormal investigations. I've been to many local famous haunted places. I've been to some haunted places in Michigan. Not so local haunted places. I've been to LaSalle, Illinois. I've 9th Street Pub. I've been touched by a ghost, not in a sexual way. I've been like jabbed by. I've seen stuff. I've heard stuff. And more recently, before I kind of semi-retired, we went to the abandoned Elgin Mental Hospital in Elgin, Illinois, and that place is really messed up. We got a lot of EVP of like pretty much like a dog barking, and there was no dogs there. Actually, the last place I investigated was mine and Andre Brust's friend Chuck Russell, and his house is extremely haunted. Like, we got EVPs, like we were fishing fucking with crack worms and all the fish getting it. We were getting EVPs. We were asking questions. Like, he was like, hey, Grandpa, are you here? Do you want a beer? And we would play back the audio, and he'd be like, yes. So I wouldn't... And crazy stuff has happened in my house before. Pepper Scar HQ, like, stuff has fallen off the shelves. You've heard noises and moving. So it's not surprising if you guys just heard a ghost talk. That's fucking creepy. Now I'm fucking scared to listen to it.
I when I heard that, I looked right over at you. And I was like, yeah, no, that wasn't me. That wasn't him. Well, let's have fun with this.
Yeah, that's creepy. So,
maybe we'll have a third person on this podcast.
Yeah, if anybody's in the room with us right now, talk right in here into this microphone. Say something.
Well, maybe we'll hear it later.
Maybe. I don't know. That's creepy. But anyway, back to the D and R&D watch 'em. Go ahead, Dan. Give them the D.
I'm Dan Allen. I am a cinematographer. I also do production design of a whole buttload of other film things, pretty much anything film-wise. I love doing it. I've been working with Randy for a long time now. We met each other at the Cinemark movie theater at the Stratford Square Mall.
Oh, God.
And that was a blast.
It was fun until new management, and then it became hell on earth.
Oh, yes. Working for the devil was not fun, contrary to popular belief. But, you know, we found ways to still enjoy ourselves there, and even after Randy quit and I was still there for another 4 grueling years, free movies still were a wonderful perk, and free movies are still a wonderful perk.
Yes, they are. They're very fun. Speaking of which, back when we worked together, before Dan became a manager, we hung out and did a couple movies together, and then when Dan became a manager, managers aren't supposed to fraternize with employees outside of work. We definitely hung out. We still filmed. We still hung out. We didn't care. It was kind of like a bogus rule. It's not like me and Dan were trying to have sex, and it was like a weird manager-employee type thing. I hate when that happens. Can't have sex with your managers.
Oh, man. There were so many. What? Huh? No?
What?
Huh?
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Dan.
No times in the walk-in freezer.
Oh, yeah. Come up to the booth, Dan. I'm running the projections. Projectors, come on up to the booth.
Sounds like this is like an edited-out scene from Fight Club.
Yeah, this is, we're going way off topic. But yeah, there's a little history with Dan. Dan, go ahead, tell him you graduated from Columbia.
Yep, I went to Columbia for 4 glorious years while working for 4 glorious years at the movie theater simultaneously, almost going insane. But Columbia was a blast, learned a lot of things, built a lot of movie sets, made a lot of movies, made a lot of friends. But, you know, got my film degree back in 2012, and now I'm a full-time indie filmmaker.
Yes.
Quit my job at the movie theater a year ago, and I haven't looked back since.
That's the best. And I recently just quit my recent job that I had because it was just ridiculous how much harassment and berating there was there. It's definitely a gross place, and if I probably went to EOC, or whatever it's called, Equal Employment, whatever, they would probably shut the place down. I mean, it's bad. It's not good at all. But yeah. So, anyway, that's us. Like I said, episode 1, introduction / Tusk. And now, we will get into Tusk.
Bring the Tusk out.
And holy shit, it has been 2 years since Kevin Smith's last movie, Red State. And in Red State, Michael Parks was the star. Michael Parks played essentially a Fred Phelps type character, Westboro Baptist Church. In the movie, they were like the 5 Points Church or something like that. It was, but it was wonderful. Kevin Smith fell in love with Michael Parks because Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez always worked with him. He always played this same sheriff character in a bunch of their movies. And he just fell in love with them, and that's a lot of people know him from that. But now he's known as almost like a Kevin Smith guy now, which is pretty cool. Kevin Smith has been known to have a lot of famous people, like consider now Johnny Depp's acting in his movies. His daughter grew up best friends with Johnny Depp's daughter, Lily Rose, and there's a spin-off from Tusk. I don't want to get too much into it, called Yoga Hoosers, or Housers, whatever you want to say it. They use real photos of them when they were kids growing up together, because they're now like 15, 16, and they use that in the Yoga Housers as like the beginning credits of the movie to show that they're like best friends. I just think that's cool. Like I never knew, like I never thought like, oh, Johnny Depp and Kevin Smith were friends because their daughters are best friends because their wives are good friends. Like I never would have put those two together at all. But yeah, so we're gonna do cast first on Tusk. But back to Michael Parks. Michael Parks is brilliant. In Tusk, he was insane.
Oh, literally.
Insane. Like literally. Oh my god. By the way, lots of spoilers. This is a spoiler type podcast. Yeah, Tusk is new. Whatever. We'll watch them and watch them. It could be YouTube videos. It could be Vines. It can be movies from back in the day. It could be movies just came out on Blu-ray. Movies that are still in theaters. Regardless, there's going to be spoilers. Michael Parks is a lunatic in this movie, but he is like a classy, badass. Like when the movie cuts away from him and Justin Long, who plays the main character, when the movie cuts away from it, you just want it to go back to them. You just
yeah.
Michael Parks has these speeches and these.
He's magnetic in his own psychotic way. He's very magnetic in this movie.
He's glorious, and as the movie rolls on, he's almost like the Joker. And as Dan pointed out, he looks like an older Bryan Cranston.
Oh yeah, way too uncanny of an appearance.
Dan actually thought it was Bryan Cranston in makeup at first.
Well, when I watched the trailer before we saw the movie, I saw the trailer. I'm like, Bryan Cranston is in this movie, and then I looked at IMDb. I'm like, nope.
Well, it's funny because the actress who played Skylar is actually in Red State as one of the kids' moms. So that is, it's not too far fetched to say, hey, it was on break of their third or fourth season of Breaking Bad, and she got cast in it. So,
gotta be honest, I haven't seen Red State yet.
Oh,
my bad.
That's another watch we need to do for another episode. That's badass. Well, anyway, back to Michael Parks. Holy shit. He comes off as like this old man who's just lonely. His whole house is filled with little knickknacks and artifacts from his past that he has so many stories. Like he knew Edgar Allan Poe in the military. Like it was nuts.
You not Edgar Allan Poe. It was Hemingway.
Hemingway, whatever.
It was definitely Hemingway. I think Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, Edgar Allan
was
Poe.
several centuries ago.
Whatever.
I'm not sure. I'm not that up.
One of those people. One of
literature
those weirdos that wrote poetry. One of them.
It was definitely Hemingway that was in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't in the. Well, I guess he was technically in the movie. They show him.
Yeah.
They show him in one
shot.
There's
a flashback. There's a couple flashbacks in the movie where you see the young Howard Howe, or you never really know his real name. There's one scene where
Moussier.
Yeah, there's different names always. He's like 3 or 4 different names, but he's gold. He's the star of the movie. It's badass. And then you got Justin Long and Haley Joel Osment. They played best friends who do podcasts, and they recently become famous. And their podcast is called the Notsee Party, Notsee, and it's hilarious. It is hilarious, and they both share the same ringtone on their cell phones. Holy shit!
Ooh ooh ooh, do it. Ooh ooh ooh, do it.
Let's get more margaritas. That is the ringtone, and you hear it 30 times in the movie. The first couple of times it's funny, and then after it's just annoying, but it's annoying in the good way where you just turn to the person you're at the movies with and go, Jesus Christ. But it's fucking funny.
I thought the ringtone was over. Nope, came back for one more.
Yeah.
Just had to come back one more.
Dan was like, I hope we don't have to hear that again. And I'm like, you might. I don't know. Probably not. And then
honestly, I thought the end of the movie that ringtone was going to come back.
5 minutes later, the ringtone came back.
The credits are playing, and all of a sudden, ooh, 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 do it. Yeah.
Margaritas.
Wouldn't have been surprised, but.
And then, like I said, Haley Joel Osment, I haven't seen him in a movie since The Sixth Sense. I'm sure he's been in more, but it was just weird from a little kid. Now he's kind of chunky. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I'm chunky, but it was weird seeing him adult now.
I didn't realize that was the kid from The Sixth Sense.
He's
the second you pointed that out, I completely can see the comparison, but man, I didn't realize that.
It's just weird. He has a beard. I don't know. There's a girl in there. The actress I don't know her name. She's half Hispanic, half white. In the movie, the actress is really good. She can cry on cue. She's really good. She mostly speaks the perfect English, but sometimes she kind of has an accent. But it's okay because in the movie, Kevin Smith I don't. He must have changed the script because Justin Long makes fun of her for it, so it doesn't matter. And really, half the time you don't even notice it anyway. So it's not. It's not like my Fear and Shadows movie where I had a good actress, but she was just Russian, and she played like Barbara Gordon. That was like just.
What are you saying? You do not like the Russian accent?
No. I do. It's just I didn't know.
It does not make things more sexy?
No, it doesn't.
No, well, that's personal.
But nothing against that person. It's just they like the newer Power Rangers seasons and stuff. Like they film in New Zealand, and like they're supposed to be like in America, and like half the actors are like talking like this, or they're like, yeah, well, we're gonna go transform into Power Rangers now. Where's my thank you for the it's morphin time? You're like no. So I'm glad they kind of like Kevin Smith was like, okay, she speaks okay English, like really good English. But sometimes her affliction comes out, so let's make Justin Long's character, who is an asshole in the movie, let's make fun of it. But yeah, a couple other people in the movie. Ralph Garman plays this. I thought he was going to be funnier. He's just like this.
The Canadian border guard.
Yeah, he's like the Canadian, like the high.
He was working the.
Like the police
I think
station.
they said that was the. Oh, that's
like
what he played.
chief of
Okay,
the
I got
police or
confused.
whatever. He kind of had a couple funny lines, but it just I don't know. I like Ralph Garman a lot. I'm glad he actually talked in this movie because in Red State he was in it and he just didn't speak. It was weird. Then Harley Morenstein from Harley Plays Epic Mealtime. The Sauce Boss himself is in this movie, and that scene was funny. He's the guy who checks you in when you first get to like off the airplanes and stuff. He's fucking hilarious. There's this awesome speech where it's like,
you don't like hockey, eh?
Yeah. Like,
there's Canada do's and Canada don'ts.
Canada do's and Canada don'ts. And then like there was this awesome like flag comparison where it's like he's like, you might have your American flag might have the red, white, and blue, but the Canadian flag only has red and white. There's never any blue, eh? And the whole like meaning is American people to him are always so sad and depressed. You're feeling blue, but the Canadian flag, there's no blue. We never feel sad. And Justin Long says something, and he's like,
"We're not happy. We're optimistic.
We're optimistic. There's a difference." He had some of the funniest lines in the movie. The first time you see the female character, she's giving Justin Long a blowjob.
Oh yeah.
And then she like stops, and it pisses him off. And then apparently Justin Long used to be this super.
I think
nerd.
all guys have. Well, maybe not all guys, but a lot of people have been in that situation where it's like, come on,
you're not going to finish. You can't play with it a little bit and get it hard, and then expect me not to finish. I'm finishing somewhere. It's either in your mouth.
I'm going
or
to
on the
die
rug.
from a severe case of blue balls. Woman, please.
And like I said, in Canada, there's no blue There's no blue balls there, eh? Because there's no blue in the flag, apparently. So yeah, that's the first time you meet her. Apparently, before the movie starts, when their podcasts first started or whatever, he was a nerd, giant nerd, had a retainer, all this other stuff, and then just like the fame of having a big podcast, it just makes Justin Long into a douchebag. So the characters are well developed in the movie. Then of course, Kevin Smith's daughter Harley Quinn, Johnny Depp's daughter Lily Rose. They play two convenience store clerks in. No surprise. No, it's a lovely throwback to Clerks. Like it's just weird. Like Kevin Smith had a podcast where he was just like, yeah, my first indie film I started, two assholes in a convenience store. Now it's just like to be able to have my daughter act for me, and they're in a convenience. Like it was just touching, awesome speech. I'm a giant Kevin Smith fan. It's awesome to see his daughter growing up to like be a beautiful woman. I'm not a creepy person or a perv or anything. It's just cool to see like I remember when she was born. Like it's not in a weird way. It's just like it's cool to see people advancing and not being dead. Like I'm glad Kevin Smith's alive still. I'm glad all this stuff is happening. And like I said, those two, Johnny Depp's daughter and his daughter, they're actually in the spin-off of this one, which is the second chapter in his Great White North trilogy. It's going to be Yoga Hoosers, and they're playing the same characters. And Johnny Depp's cop character is going to be in.
We didn't even get to Johnny Depp yet, did we?
Yeah, no. So they're going to share some characters. That's very similar to Kevin Smith's early the Jersey trilogy, the original trilogy of Jersey movies, Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy. So I mean, it's really cool to see Kevin Smith doing another trilogy because fucking last year he wanted to quit filmmaking, and all of a sudden he's doing this trilogy plus Clerks 3. It's just good to see him. Anyway, and then the last character. Not to get too off topic, but we're gonna jump around a little bit. It doesn't matter. It's a podcast.
Just a little bit. I think we got in Power Rangers.
Yeah, hey, it's entertainment. It's gold. And we also had a ghost speak to us. So
I think I figured out what the ghost was. I think it's every time a car drives past this garage on the street.
Okay, that's better. No, I'm not shitting my pants
Doesn't make
anymore.
it sound any less creepy, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is.
But all right. Kevin Smith's wife makes a cameo the first time you meet Johnny Depp. They're at like this little restaurant, and he orders a bunch of food, and he's like a slider. Johnny Depp plays an awesome character in this movie, Guy Lapointe. But it's a goofy, nutty, crazy character. That is someone using the bathroom. You're gonna pick that up because we have a really good mic. I just got my nice mic and boom set in the mail. So that's whatever. That's someone flushing the toilet. Someone just relieve themselves of poo and pee.
Yeah, Randy just literally saw my face and reacted to my face.
It's okay. When
right
Kevin
now
Smith,
these headphones. Woo.
When Kevin Smith does a podcast, you hear his dogs bark, you hear doors open. Who gives a shit? Johnny Depp's character is just amazing. Like, he's so goofy, but like so badass at the same time. It's awesome. It is awesome. He's a badass. It was great to he definitely
the opening shot with him, that nice tracking shot or not even a tracking shot, but that dolly in.
Yeah.
That just kept going. I was like a 2-minute shot felt like.
Yeah, Johnny
But his eyes,
badass.
I don't know how he even did that. How do you act with your eyes like that and get them so cross-eyed in that way?
He made his eyes. Johnny Depp, man, he
looked like he had a lazy eye. Like, how did he forcibly make himself have a lazy eye?
He's a magician, man. I don't know.
He always plays very unique characters.
Yeah, but those are the characters for sure. There's a couple other ones in there, but they're not really worth mentioning. The movie starts off with Justin Long's character, Wallace, and Haley Joel Osment's character, who gives a shit about his name. They are
Teddy.
They're
Teddy.
They're watching this funny video. It's called The Kill Bill Kid, and this kid is playing with the sword and he ends up cutting his leg off. It was pretty funny, and they're laughing and joking about it. And that's where the movie picks off. Justin Long is going to Canada to go interview this kid, because this kid became super famous and reached out to him, I guess to try to not be depressed or whatever. But it was too late, because Johnny Depp gets to Canada. He meets Harley Morenstein's character, the border guy. He gets his rent-a-car, whatever. He gets to the kid's house, and there's just a wreath at the front door, like a white wreath, and he's just like, what the fuck? He turns to the corner and goes to the side of the house, and he's like, excuse me, there's a funeral at the house because the Star Wars kid killed himself. And the same sword that he accidentally cut his leg off with, he killed himself with. And it's sad. Like, they show, like, the wheelchair, and it's fucked up.
The wreath is in the wheelchair.
Yeah, there's another wreath in the wheelchair with his picture. Everyone's crying. And Justin Long's character is just a giant douchebag. He's furious that this kid couldn't wait another day to kill himself. He's so pissed. He
wasted $550 on a plane flight.
Ticket. Fucking, he could have waited another day. He's telling his friend Teddy this over the phone. He just sounded like a fucking ass. I think he left a message or something because he was still talking and then he heard the beep. So he's sitting at this bar, and it was called the H Bar. We can only assume it was another hockey joke. Lots of those. He's at the H Bar. He's pissed off. He's like, fuck, I want to come home, but I don't want to waste the money, come up here and not get anything. I have to find some weirdo, whatever. He goes and takes a piss. And if you're a big fan of Kevin Smith, listen to his podcast, you know where Tusk came from. Just like them finding the story on Gumtree.com, Justin Long finds this story, this handbill hanging on the wall of this guy who's lived this man who's lived this long life. He's been at sea. He's all this other stuff. In the podcast, the real life podcast, it says, you got to dress up in a walrus suit for 2 hours a day to get free lodging. This is a horror movie. It doesn't say any of that. He just has lots of stories to tell. He is offering free lodging as long as you listen to the stories or whatever. And it's just like, oh boy, this is where the movie picks up. Because then it goes straight to Justin Long arriving at the destination. Well, he goes to the convenience store first and gets something to drink. And that's where he meets Kevin Smith's daughter, whatever. And he asks for, at first you didn't know. They don't show the whole scene. You just think they're joking around or whatever. And you know Justin Long got his address somehow because on the handbill he left the number. So anyway, Justin Long gets to his house, and the awesome Michael Parks is there, and he's telling all these crazy stories, and
wheeling around in his electric
wheelchair, and he's having trouble lifting his leg up with his hands to get it over on its other leg, and they're talking and talking. He offers Justin Long some tea, and he gets him tea. Justin Long is finishing this big gulp thing that he picked up from the gas station. He's finishing that, and he's like, "I'll drink whatever you want to give me. I just gotta piss first." He goes and take a piss. He comes back out, and he starts drinking the tea, and it's really good tea and whatever. And that's where the Hemingway story was from.
Yeah.
And all these other stories of how this Howard Howe, Michael Parks' character, has had this long, crazy life. One of my absolute favorite parts of the movie, and it's so quick, but it's just like holy shit. You know something's gonna happen. You knew there's no way he could do all this work being in the wheelchair. He's talking, and Justin Long's drinking tea, and Justin Long's telling him a little bit about himself or whatever. And it cuts you see Michael Parks, and he lifts his leg up without using his hands and crosses his legs again without using his hands. And it's kind of like a fuck you to Justin Long, like, you're not paying attention. I'm just going to cross my legs. Yes, my legs work. It's like this sweet little,
It's really subtle. I didn't even notice it. Randy pointed it out, and that's when I noticed it.
It's so quick, but it's just like Michael Parks is getting into his gear. He knows he's going to be able to knock this guy out, so he's just doing it at this point. Justin Long keeps drinking this tea, and he likes it. And he's like, "Why is this tea so good?" And then Michael Parks is like, "Oh, because tea's better when you steep the tea leaves in bourbon first, or some alcohol, brandy first, and then drink it." And he's like, "Alcohol's better." And then that's when you got more into the Hemingway thing, where he's like, "Yeah, Hemingway said that quote to me. Alcohol, sober, drunk, some shit." But yeah.
Always do sober what you do drunk, so then you don't have to keep any secrets or something?
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, Hemingway said that." And he's like, "Yes, he said it to me." Well, okay. And then, eventually Justin Long passes the fuck out. And then, he wakes up. He's, totally out of it. And then Michael Parks is like, "Oh, I'm glad you're okay." And then he's just like, what do you mean? What happened? What's going on here? What happened? And then, if you listen to the podcast as well, that Kevin Smith had this giant, brown recluse spider story. So that's throughout the whole movie. Michael Parks like, "Oh, you got bit by a spider. A brown recluse. It bit you. It came out of your pants leg, and you fell down." And Justin Long is so out of it, he believes him. He doesn't remember where he's at, though. It's just a funny moment. Because Michael Parks is, almost laughing when he's telling the story. He's
"Where's my phone?" "Well, Dr. Moussier had to take it away."
Moussier took
"Well,
your phone.
do you have any phones in the house?" "Nah, Dr. Moussier unplugged all of them."
He thought it'd be better to take all the phones out of the house. Why
You
the
need your
fuck?
rest.
Why the fuck would he do that? And he's just like, "Well, you don't want to be disturbed. You are in Canada after all. We're nice people." And he's laughing when he's talking about it. He's like,
"Well, I want to see Dr. Moussier."
And then it gets to the point where Justin Long moves the blanket off, and his left leg is gone. It's cut off. You see tendons and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's not gross or anything. There's not really a lot of gore in the movie, surprisingly. You see, and then Justin Long starts freaking out. Then it cuts to a couple flashbacks. You find out in between Michael Parks doing surgery on Justin Long, and just I don't know, it's just so there's not longer shots of them, it's just them. There's flashback scenes of before he left, you see Wallace's girlfriend, what's her name, Allie?
I think so, yeah.
Allie.
That's the whole starting with the blowjob scene.
Yeah, and then you find out that Justin Long always cheats on Allie, and he tells Teddy the stories, and they say it over the podcast. But she listens to the podcast. So Allie's crying, and then a hand touches her face, and she's like, "If I didn't have you, I don't know what I would do," whatever. It turns out that Allie and Ted are fucking because they're together, they're fucking.
I was never 100% sure that they were actually fucking. I mean, they're definitely sleeping in the same bed together. But they said they were going somewhere, so I feel like they went on their own trip as well.
Mm-hmm. But that happens, and then Justin Long wakes up again. And he has his cell phone. He finds his cell phone. He leaves 2 voicemails, one on his girlfriend's phone, one on Teddy's phone, and then Michael Parks knocks it off. Oh, and before we get even further, there's this very funny, like, fucking
The dinner
walrus
scene.
penis hanging
Oh,
up,
God.
hanging up on, like, the mantle. Justin Long was like, ooh, what's this? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's a walrus cock. Michael Parks says walrus. He's like, it's a walrus cock. No, he says, he's like, Justin Long's like, what is this? Like, the walrus's spine? And he's like, it is cock. I started dying. There's a giant fucking dick, a walrus dick hanging up. But anyway, back to where we're at.
That was always my letdown in the movie, where we didn't actually see, like, him talk about having sex with the walrus. Like, I feel like there was something deeply sexual that happened between Michael Parks and that walrus he talks about, and it never actually came out.
One of the flashbacks, his ship gets wrecked, and he swims to this little tiny island, and the walrus is what saves him, and they have this nice bonding thing, and the walrus keeps him warm, and I'm sure he fucked the walrus.
Or the walrus fucked him.
I
don't know.
But then it comes back. Justin Long is knocked out on a table. The suit's being stitched into him, and then it finally, like, right away, you see him like in like this walrus habitat in the guy's like basement or whatever, and he is in a walrus costume. Like, it's Justin Long's face with like this skin graft all over him. His ears are like removed and like up on top of like his head.
All of the skin on his body is stretched all over in weird ways. Like he sewed his like the skin on his upper arms all the way into his like ribs and stuff.
Oh.
He and turned his remaining leg into a flipper.
And he turned like one like piece of his tibia. He like carved it into like walrus tucks. And like removed 4 of Justin Long's teeth on each side and like
basically bolted it to his face.
His face. It's so fucked up, but it's so fun. Like, the suit is so real. And
don't forget he cut his tongue out.
Oh yeah, and so Justin Long can go like making walrus noises. So and before there's this crazy dinner scene before it cuts to him being on the table, being sewn together, and they're yelling at each other, and he's like screaming for help, and then Michael Parks is like yelling at him and shit. It's just nuts. So then it cuts, and they listen to his girlfriend and Teddy listen to Wallace, Justin Long's character, voicemail, and they freak out, and they go to Canada. They meet Ralph Garman, and then he's like, actually, Canada doesn't have any serial killers, but it's funny because this detective,
yeah.
The Johnny Depp's character is like, he just called recently looking for if there's been any bodies without legs and stuff, because both of his legs are gone. It's like this thing. There's been a lot of killings, and you find out Michael Parks has been a psychopath for a lot longer than you think. Even to a point where Michael Parks is trying to get Justin Long in walrus form to swim, and Justin Long like goes under the water. He wants to kill himself, but then he opens his eyes, and there's like 2 more dead like walrus bodies in the water. So you've known this man has been here for a while.
Walruses with human skulls.
And it's just that's really one of the creepier scenes. And then. So then, like I said...
up until that point, you had no idea that there were any other walruses. Because it almost, like, I wondered how...
He was waiting.
What made Michael Parks so good at turning people into walruses? Like, how did he get Justin Long to actually not die during this? Because he doesn't talk about being a doctor in any way.
Or anything.
Like, one thing we talked about a lot before we saw this movie and afterwards was, like, all the, how much does this movie compare to The Human Centipede? And how, like, if anybody's seen the first Human Centipede movie, the main, antagonist is a doctor. He's, he performs operations on people. That's where, like, with Michael Parks' character, I had no idea where, like, his experience to operate on someone came from.
And then that's when you find out, like, you actually meet Johnny Depp, and he's like, oh, no, there's been killings going on like this for a while. Lots of bodies. There's, like, a little throwback to the original place where Kevin Smith read the fake article, Gumtree. This famous Canadian football player was, like, they found his body. Hockey player. Wow, I don't know why it's like football. Football in Canada, my ass. So, yeah, so then you find out there's more, and you see the dead bodies there, and they go searching for them. And then you get to the end of the movie, and you find out that Michael Parks actually had to kill his walrus friend, who he called Mr. Tusk. And after he transforms Wallace into the human walrus-type thing, he refers to him as Mr. Tusk. But anyway, back to the flashback when Michael Parks' character was young again on the island. Turns out he had to kill the walrus and eat it to survive. And then he finally gets rescued and he freaked out or whatever.
Like an hour after killing Mr. Tusk.
So then it's the very end of the movie. Justin Long gets woken up, and Michael Parks, you hear him talk, and he's like, "Last time, Mr. Tusk, you didn't get a chance to defend yourself, but this time you will." And it cuts, and Michael Parks is in his own walrus suit, but the walrus tusks are on top of his head because it's more of like a suit, not grafted onto him, and he's like dressed in like this old brilliant actors in this crazy fucking walrus suit. It's so funny, yet so fucked up. He gets down on his hands and knees and he's like, "Let's do it." And then like they start like it's like they're bopping into each other.
It's like the walrus like mating season or something where the walruses body slam each other to see who gets to mate with all the female walruses, and they're just going at it.
So Justin Long goes, and before this happens, he puts a piece of fish in front of Justin Long, and it's like, "You'll eat eventually." And Justin Long pretty much loses most of his, not all of it, but most of his humanity, starts eating the fish. So at this point, Justin Long is, I'd say, about 80% walrus, 20% human. So they start fighting, and then at this time, they found Justin Long's rent-a-car. They've found the location where they're at, and they're searching through the house. They're fighting, and they're banging around, and then Justin Long gets even meaner, and like his survival instincts kick in, and then Michael Parks is like, "Mine did too," and he rips out of his suit.
Oh god, that was. Ugh.
And he's pretty much going to kill Justin Long because he knows Justin Long's not fucking around anymore.
Pulls out like what, a machete or something?
Yeah,
he's holding something that he's
pulls
about
out,
to
a weapon.
hit him with.
But then Justin Long uses his tusks and stabs this dude's foot, and he goes down. And then as like they break in to like save him, or almost, Teddy and Allie break into like the underground area or whatever, Justin Long is like impaling him, stabbing him in the chest to death with the tusk, just killing him. And Michael Parks is like, "You were my Mr. Tusk." And he dies. So Justin Long is full apeshit nuts right now. He just killed him, freaking out. Allie is fucking crying, freaking out. Teddy's freaking out. He sees them, but he like really doesn't recognize him. Or it's a scary fucking weird moment. And then Guy Lapointe comes in, sees it, freaks out, aims the shotgun, and then it's almost like after killing Howard Howe or whatever, he's like 90% walrus now and like 10% human. But like he sees Johnny Depp's character, and Johnny Depp points the shotgun at him, and you can see like the last remnants of his humanity going like, "Fucking shoot me, please! Fucking shoot me! Put me out of my misery! Shoot me!" And then it just cuts to black. And
1 year later.
1 year later, Teddy and Allie are going to like this wildlife preserve, and it's like this
exotic animal wildlife preserve.
It's like this outdoor zoo type thing. They get there, and there's like a little igloo type thing, and water, and a beach ball, and they're like, "Hey, Wallace," and he's not listening. And then Teddy's like, "Give him the treat." Like, he's a fucking animal now. Like, she throws the fish down, and he comes out and like starts eating the fish, and she's just like, "I love you, Wallace." And like, then you can kind of see like he still has maybe, now at this point he only has like maybe 5% humanity left, not even, probably less, but he still knows who Allie is, he still knows who Teddy is, and he's ashamed, and you can see the look on his face where like,
you can see he's crying, you see the tears coming down his tusks,
so he knows it's like he used to be human, and he just starts to finish off eating the fish, whatever, and that's how the movie ends. It's one of Kevin Smith's best movies, his greatest in a long time. I think it was an excellent first chapter in his Canadian White North trilogy type deal thing. It was really crazy. You got to see it. There's definitely like, holy shit.
It's an excellent blend of horror and comedy.
Oh yes, it is. It's glorious, and I'm looking forward because it's like, almost like the Cornetto trilogy, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and whatever, Edgar Wright. But there's more connection than just fucking ice cream bars. Like I said, that Tusk was the first movie in the trilogy. Then it's Yoga Hosers, and his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter's characters are in that movie, and Guy Lapointe's in that movie. And the official plot synopsis has actually been released on Yoga Hosers, and it's like this supernatural, this weird like creature, almost like a creature type cult. I don't know. It's like this evil it's like a evil crazy thing, and Jason Mewes is the bad guy in that movie because Kevin Smith was like, if you thought the prosthetics Justin Long wore as the walrus in Tusk is fucked up, wait till you see what Jason Mewes looks like in Yoga Hosers. So I'm excited for that chapter. And then the third and final chapter in the trilogy, Kevin Smith's Great White North Canadian horror trilogy, is going to be called It's either going to be called Krampus or Anti-Claus. And there's an episode of American Dad about him. It's like this anti-Santa demon that like there's this famous bedtime story where it's like, if you're not nice, you don't get cold. This fucking monster comes and rips your face off. Well, that actually happens. That's going to be full-fledged supernatural crazy shit. And I'm sure he'll either have Johnny Depp come back in the third one. Characters from each movie carry over to the next movie. It's like I said, very similar to Kevin Smith's early original Jersey trilogy. But yeah, Tusk. It's holy shit. We've pretty much covered everything. This is fucked up. Walrus dicks and
I love you, Mr. Tusk.
Mr. Tusk. You eat up now. You make sure you eat up. Okay.
The
Fucking.
only thing I wished for was that the walrus sound was even more like pronounced.
Yeah. There's like I said. There's this dinner
wailing
scene
or-
where Justin Long is screaming. He still has his tongue and shit, and then Michael Park screams with him and starts howling. He sounded more like a walrus there. At the end, when Justin Long has no tongue and he's a walrus, he sounds a little less convincing. Maybe he's trying to hold on to his humanity. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, when I get it, taking the tongue out means he can't talk anymore, so he's less human for that reason. But I mean, when you think about a walrus has a tongue.
Mhm.
So,
But yeah,
you can't completely change a human to be, a walrus. You can make him look like a walrus. That was fucked up, but shit,
oh man. But
that skin hood.
that's the creepiest part. Like Justin Long moves his head. The skin, it's almost like an uncircumcised cock.
Oh god, yeah.
Is that a walrus's spine? What is this? That's its cock. Okay, just died a little bit. Got a free movie poster for Tusk.
Oh yeah,
that was dope.
That was great. Walking out of the midnight screening, we ran into one of the managers at the movie theater that we used to work at, and she offered Randy a free Tusk movie poster.
And it was just awesome. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. It's definitely, we watched it and we enjoyed it, and we recommend you watching it. If by this point you're still listening, we clearly spoiled the fuck out of the movie, so you're kind of dumb if you're this far into it and now you're mad.
And you haven't seen it yet.
But yeah, I'd say that's it, man. This has been the first episode. It's been
Yeah.
pretty entertaining. Pretty dope.
Yep. Can't wait for our next one. We already have our next movie picked out.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a very classic movie, Meet the Feebles, by the famous Peter Jackson. Now, you probably haven't heard of this movie. This is a movie he made back in the late 80s. Basically, it is take the Muppets and make them as far end of rated R as you can get and just go insane.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Randy hasn't seen it yet. I've seen it once. I cannot wait for him to see it. I just saw it for the first time myself yesterday.
And yeah, but yeah, this has been R&D, as you could tell, podcasting. A lot of stuff comes in. People open doors. You hear people shitting and flushing toilets. But
Probably hear a baby crying in the future.
yes, this has been episode 1 of R&D Watch 'Em, the intro and Tusk.
Thanks for listening.
And like I said, if you're this far in and you're mad that we spoiled the movie, go fuck yourself!